You judge a dog by the soul way. And you judge a boy by the things way. But who I go put them money at stake? Fi make a little boy dream come true. Yeah, the little boy future in a danger. Him have to fight, make a plan. Success no know nobody as a stranger. So design your life while you can. Yeah, your thoughts are the motivator. Keep them clean, make them pure. No wait till later, do it now.
Ingrid Morgan, a spirited Jamaica-born woman who now calls Florida home, has faced more battles than most. At just 50, Morgan's life has been marked by relentless health struggles, leaving her in long-term care and coming to terms with a reality that her time may be limited. Despite this, she has one heartfelt wish: to dress up, feel alive, and attend Vybz Kartel's highly anticipated Freedom Street concert on December 31st. Financial constraints, however, have prevented her from making this dream a reality, and she's appealing directly to the dancehall star for help. "I would like to see him perform. I would want to be at his show," Morgan shared with the star. "I am a big fan, and I would just want to get dressed up and go. I am in constant pain and would have to be in a wheelchair, but I would be okay if one of my daughters or husband would be there with me. I am asking Vybz Kartel to please give me that chance. I made a plea on TikTok, but I know he has not seen it. That's why I have not got a response. I know Kartel. He may not remember me, but he is very kind and is a good person." Morgan has survived a multitude of illnesses that have compounded over the years, making her feel far older than her age. She has battled cervical cancer 3 times since 2018, endured a massive stroke, and suffers from cervical stenosis, a painful narrowing of the spinal canal in her neck. Reflecting on her path, she explained, "I'm in long-term care because I chose that over being in a nursing home. My mother didn't make it for a month in a nursing home, and I just want to feel happy, even if it's only for a short while." Beyond her own health issues, Morgan's family has faced severe challenges. One of her daughters is currently battling breast cancer, while another was shot in her foot at a Florida Independence Day celebration in August. Her husband recently suffered a heart attack, adding to the unending cycle of hardships. "It's been from one thing to the next," she lamented. The fight against cancer began 6 years ago when Morgan was diagnosed with stage 3 cervical cancer in 2018, prompting a partial hysterectomy. 2 years later, cancer reappeared, leading to another invasive surgery. A massive stroke followed, leaving her paralyzed and confined to hospitals and therapy sessions for months. Then, in 2023, cancer re-emerged in her vaginal walls, requiring yet another round of chemotherapy and surgery. "I am now cancer-free again, thanks be to God," she added. Even as she endures constant pain, Morgan has faced the grim reality of her terminal prognosis. Recently, she signed a "Do Not Resuscitate" form. "The doctor told me that to treat my condition, I would need surgery to open up the back of my neck and insert a rod, but I don't qualify because of my high blood pressure. That's why I'm in long-term care. I told the hospital not to resuscitate me. Do not bring me back to life," Morgan said. With her eyes set on Freedom Street, a monumental event expected to rock the National Stadium on New Year's Eve, Morgan made one last plea to Vybz Kartel. "Kartel, please, I just want to dress up and fix myself up a little bit and just enjoy some entertainment, even if it's for a few hours. I just want a break in the cycle. My doctor has given the clearance, and if it's the last thing I do, I want to dress up, feel happy again, and see you perform."
What if you only had one wish left? Like, what would be the thing you'd want? It's a question that really gets you thinking, huh? About what's important, I mean. Today, we're going to be looking into the story about Ingrid Morgan.
Ingrid Morgan.
Yeah, she's a 50-year-old Jamaican woman living in Florida now. And her last wish has, well, it's gotten a lot of people talking.
Really? What is it?
Well, we're going to get into all that, but
Yeah.
just to set the stage, we're using this article from The Star.
Okay, the Jamaican newspaper. I know that one.
Right, exactly. And they did a whole piece on Ingrid and her, well, you could say unique last wish.
All right, you got to tell me now. What is it?
Okay. So picture this. You're dealing with some serious health issues, and your one wish is to go to a Vybz Kartel concert.
Wow. Okay. That's definitely not what I was expecting. I'm intrigued, though. Tell me more about Ingrid.
So she's been fighting cervical cancer since 2018. Like, she's gone through 3 rounds of treatment already.
Oh.
Yeah. And then on top of that, she had a massive stroke. And now she's dealing with this thing called cervical stenosis. It causes her, like, constant pain.
That's a lot to handle. Honestly, it makes you think, how can someone even think about a concert with all that going on?
And it's not even just her own health. Her whole family's been through a lot, too.
Really?
Yeah. One of her daughters is fighting breast cancer. Another one of her daughters was shot in the foot. And to top it off, her husband just had a heart attack.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's just one thing after another.
Right. And with all that happening, Ingrid's choosing to focus on something positive, like a glimmer of hope, a chance to, I don't know, experience some joy.
And that's the Vybz Kartel concert.
Exactly. She wants to see his Freedom Street concert. It's happening December 31st.
That's interesting. I mean, Vybz Kartel, he's a bit of a controversial figure, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
And the article doesn't really say why she chose him specifically. Like, there's this part where she even said she's not sure if he remembers her or not.
Oh, really? So there's some kind of past connection there.
Sounds like it. Makes you wonder how they even met in the first place, what their relationship was like, you know?
I know. It's like a little mystery. And it really makes you think, like, what does that say about Ingrid? That this particular artist means so much to her.
I know. It's like, who are the people in our lives that hold that kind of special meaning? The ones who bring us joy and comfort, especially when things are tough.
It's true. We often look for those familiar faces, those shared experiences, especially when we're facing our own mortality, I guess.
And it makes me wonder about her husband. You know, I mean, we know he's part of her support system. And he's going through his own health challenges, too. So how does he feel about all this? About her wanting to see someone like Vybz Kartel, especially if this could be one of her last experiences?
Yeah, that's a really good point. We're only getting Ingrid's side of the story here. But her husband's thoughts and feelings, those are important, too. Like, imagine those conversations they must be having. All that love and concern, maybe even confusion.
It's a lot to process, that's for sure. But just to get back to the wish itself, she wants to dress up, feel alive again, even if it's just for a few hours. And her doctor's actually cleared her to go. So it's not a health risk or anything.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a reckless thing. It's something she's thought through.
Yeah. And then there's the fact that she's already signed a do not resuscitate order.
Wow, really? That's a big decision. I mean, it kind of suggests she's come to terms with things, with her prognosis, I mean, and that she wants to focus on, really living in the time she has left.
Exactly. And her doctor mentioned that further treatment for her neck pain, it's just too risky. So she's facing a situation where her options are, well, limited. And she's shifted her focus to finding those moments of joy, those experiences that make life feel a little less heavy,
Yeah, it's like she's taking back control, choosing how her story ends.
And that ending, it involves Vybz Kartel. So it brings us back to that question, why him? What is it about this guy, this artist, that speaks to her so much?
Well, maybe it's about what he represents. I mean, Vybz Kartel was locked up for years, right?
Yeah.
And when he got out, his fans, they celebrated big time. So maybe Ingrid wanting to see this Freedom Street concert, maybe it's her way of connecting to that feeling of freedom, like breaking free from all the stuff she's dealing with, the illness, everything.
That's an interesting thought. Like, she's searching for her own kind of freedom, even if it's just for a few hours, through music. Through celebrating.
Right. And don't forget the power of music itself. It can be like incredibly healing, a way to work through your emotions, to find some comfort, to connect to something bigger than yourself.
It really is. I was thinking about that when I was reading Ingrid's story. Like how certain songs can take you back to a specific time, a feeling.
Oh, totally.
Like your first love, or a time you felt really proud, or even a time when you were really sad. Music, it has this crazy ability to bring back those emotions, those memories.
Yeah, yeah. And for Ingrid, I mean, she's facing, the end of her life. So maybe Vybz Kartel's music, it's like a link to her past, to a time before all the health problems, a time when things felt easier.
Or maybe it's even simpler than that. Maybe it's about right now. About finding joy in this moment, even with all the pain and uncertainty. Not about the past or the future, but just feeling the energy of that concert. Being with other fans who love this guy's music as much as she does.
That's a nice thought. Choosing to live fully, to embrace those moments of joy and connection, no matter what tomorrow brings.
Yeah. And speaking of connection, let's get back to that whole mystery about Ingrid and Vybz Kartel.
Yeah.
The article doesn't say anything about how they met or what their relationship was, just that she's not even sure if he remembers her.
That part, that really stuck with me too. Like, it adds a whole other layer to her wish. Was it like a random meeting? Were they friends for a bit? Some kind of moment that really stayed with her? We don't know. It's definitely intriguing. It adds a lot of emotion to her story.
Can you imagine if he did remember her? The stories they could tell, the impact he might have had on her life without even knowing it.
It's like it makes you think about all the people we meet throughout our lives, the ones who touch us, who shape us. And sometimes we don't even realize it until much later.
And what about Vybz Kartel's side of things?
Mm.
You know, when he's huge in Jamaica and beyond, he's probably met thousands of fans. How does he view those interactions? Does he get how much his music, his persona can affect people?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's easy to forget. Celebrities, they're human too. They have their own stuff going on. But for someone like Ingrid, his music means the world to her. That connection, it feels so personal to her, even if he doesn't feel it the same way.
And then there's the whole controversy around him. I mean, he was in prison for murder for years
Yeah.
and just recently got out. His music talks about violence, crime, social issues.
Right. And that definitely adds another layer to all this. Some people, they might not get it. They might even judge Ingrid for wanting to see him, especially considering everything she's going through, wanting peace and joy.
Exactly. But we have to remember, art is subjective, right?
Yeah.
What one person finds offensive, another person might find empowering or even a way to escape.
It all comes down to how we process things. Our emotions, our experiences, it's different for everyone. What matters is that Ingrid finds something in his music. It brings her comfort, it brings her joy, especially when she needs it the most.
It makes you think about heroes, role models. We put these celebrities on pedestals, but at the end of the day, they're just people with flaws, just like us. And sometimes the people who inspire us the most, they're the ones who have been through some tough stuff and come out on the other side stronger.
Yeah. It reminds us that everyone deserves a little grace, We all have our own baggage, our own stories, and it's not always pretty, but it's part of who we are.
So Ingrid's wish, it might not make sense to everyone, but it shows us how personal our connection to music can be. And to the artists we love, it reflects what we value, what we've been through, what we want.
It's about finding something that feeds your soul, Even if it doesn't fit in with what society expects.
And as we keep talking about Ingrid's story, about love and loss and searching for joy, I keep coming back to her husband. I wonder how he's dealing with all this.
Yeah, he's definitely a big part of this too. It's not just Ingrid's story, it's theirs. It's about the people who love her, who are going through this with her.
I bet he's feeling so many things right now. Supporting her wish, but also maybe he's struggling with it. Knowing time is running out and those moments together, they're precious.
It must be so hard for him. But it also shows how strong their love is.
Yeah. And maybe, just maybe, he understands. Even if he doesn't totally agree with her choice. Maybe he sees how much this concert means to her, how much joy it brings her. And maybe that's enough for him to put his own feelings aside.
That's what love is all about, right? Compassion. Putting aside your own judgments to support someone you love, even when you don't fully get it.
This whole conversation, it's made me think about my own relationship with music. It's such a powerful thing. And it means something different to all of us.
It really does. Ingrid's story, it's a good reminder. Music isn't just entertainment. It can heal us, connect us to our past, help us deal with our emotions. And I guess it can remind us what it means to really live.
As we wrap up this deep dive into Ingrid's story, I keep thinking about how much she's facing. But she's still holding on to this wish, this need to experience some real joy.
It's pretty amazing. Makes you rethink what's really important at the end of life. I mean, it's not always about fighting for more time, right?
Right.
Maybe it's about making the most of the time you have left and filling it with things that make you feel alive.
It really shows you the strength of the human spirit, our ability to keep hoping even when things are really tough. Her wish, it's not about giving up. It's about choosing to live, choosing joy, connecting with something that makes her happy.
And that choice to see Vybz Kartel, it adds another layer to all this. I mean, he is a controversial figure. There's no getting around that. His music can be dark. And his past, well, it's definitely complicated.
Yeah. But music, art in general, it's subjective. What one person finds offensive, another might find, empowering, maybe even cathartic, a way to escape.
Exactly. We can't really judge her choice, can we? For Ingrid, Vybz Kartel's music, maybe it's something deeper, a connection to her Jamaican roots, a way to rebel, or just a powerful way to express her emotions.
It could be about taking control, when so much feels out of her control.
I think you're right. Choosing this concert, knowing it could be one of her last experiences, that's a powerful statement. It's like she's saying, this is what matters to me, and I'm going to do it.
It reminds us that joy, you can find it in the most unexpected places. And what makes one person happy, it might seem strange to someone else.
Totally. We don't have to understand each other's choices, but we can respect them. Everyone deserves to find joy and meaning in their own way.
I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. If you had one wish left, what would it be? And what would that wish say about you? About the things that really matter?
That's a good question. Maybe by asking ourselves that, we can understand ourselves a little better and what makes life, even with all its challenges, worth living.